This is the only video that you're gonna need if you're looking to try or buy fragrances in London. Yes, people, what is going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. So if you're new here, my name's TJ, and on my channel, I discuss all things fragrances and the fragrance industry. So if there's any content you would like for me to create, let me know down in the comments. And I just want to quickly apologize for the lack of uploads the last couple of weeks. It's just been a little bit crazy lately. I've been here, there, and everywhere, it seems. It was the missus' birthday as well, so I was away for that. But listen, your boy's back now. Now, I get this question quite a lot. TJ, I'm coming to London. Where is the best places to try these luxury, expensive fragrances that I always talk about? Now, this doesn't have to be a long-winded video or anything like that. I'm literally going to tell you all the stores that I go to in London, the best thing about them, the worst thing about them, and which ones I recommend. And I'm also going to give you some boutiques and some bonus spots that you might not have known about, so make sure you stay to the end. And kicking off the list in 8th place is Selfridges. Now, they've got pretty much what you guys would want to try. They've got niche fragrances, they've got designer fragrances, they've got little pop-ups scattered around the store as well, and they've got their own little dedicated perfume hall. And I know that all sounds good, so you guys are probably thinking, why the hell have you put Selfridges in last place? That's probably one of the most popular stores to try fragrances in London. But for me and a lot of other people, it all comes down to the customer service. Now, a lot of the staff in here are agency staff, so someone you might see today, you may not see them tomorrow, and this probably explains why they don't have a lot of knowledge on the products or the fragrances that they're trying to sell to you guys. And some of them are just outright rude. Like, if you go and ask them, oh, sorry, have you got this fragrance? They just go, look, whatever's there is there. And I don't really like that kind of stuff. Now, before you lot bite my head off, this is not with all staff in Selfridges, because I've met loads of people in there that have helped me a lot and are proper cool. So shout out to those ones. But I would say if you're going into Selfridges and you want kind of help and recommendations tailored on what you like for fragrances for you to buy, then I wouldn't go here. But if you know exactly what you want and you just want to go in there and pick it up, I definitely recommend. But for me, I'll only go into Selfridges if they got an exclusive brand that's just been stocked or a new fragrance that you can only get in Selfridges. Other than that, I'll go elsewhere. Now, in 7th place, we have Liberty London, which is a short walk from Selfridges. And before we get into that, you can find your boy's nose in the store. I've got a little sculpture on the wall, so if you go there, make sure to touch it. Now, before this year, Liberty was just super basic. They had one little section on the ground floor where you could try a selection of fragrances, but I would say if there was like 5, 6, or 7 people in that area, it weren't a great experience. But in March of this year, they renovated downstairs, and now there's a dedicated section for fragrances, which I absolutely love. And down there, you can find brands like Matière Première, Wilhelm Parfumerie, you can find Creed, and even Ex Nihilo. Now, they've got 2 things downstairs, which a lot of other stores don't do. And the first one is they group fragrances into olfactive families. So there's a little section in the middle, and you can find fragrances if they're florals, orientals, gourmands, which is pretty sick. Because if you know what kind of fragrances you like, you can go there and be put onto brands or fragrances you would have never known. And another thing I bet you didn't know is they offer fragrance consultations, but it's not with all of the brands, so you do have to check that. But say, for example, you want to dive into Ex Nihilo fragrances, you pay £30, you go into this private room with a fragrance expert, and they can tell you all about the history of the brand and go through the fragrances one by one. Now, with this experience, you don't have to buy anything, but if you do, that £30 you just paid for that kind of fragrance consultation, you can use that against a fragrance from that house. So say, for example, you went in to try Matière Première and then you paid the £30 and then you actually like Crystal Saffron, you can use that £30 to redeem against the fragrance. So it's kind of like a win-win. I would say even do it if you already know what fragrance you're going to buy and you just want a kind of in-depth experience about a brand. Now, in 6th place, we have Fortnum & Mason. And what's crazy is when I done my TikTok video on the best stores to check out in London, I actually forgot Fortnum's off of the list, which is nuts. But listen, if you don't already follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or Snapchat, it's all at TJ Talk Sense. Now, Fortnum & Mason doesn't really have a massive collection in there, but it's big enough. And that statement is something no guy wants to hear. Now, the fragrance selection is located on the 3rd floor, I believe, and they've got loads of amazing brands in there like Xerjoff, they've got Amouage as well, and they've even got Clive Christian, which a lot of people love. And they don't only have UK exclusives, but they have a lot of worldwide as well. Now, in terms of the shopping experience, because it is a luxury store, they do have loads of staff in there that do tend to come up to you quite often. But when I've been in there, I just tell them, listen, I'm just looking. If I need your help, I'll let you know. And they're just totally cool with it. And in here, you can get everything fragrance. You can get candles, you can get body oil, lotions, you can get fragrance, of course, diffusers and stuff like that. But they're not cheap brands, so you've been warned. Now, in 5th place, we have Harvey Nichols, or as I like to call them, Harvey Nicks. And there's a good reason that they're in this spot. Now, their fragrance section is not huge, but they do have a lot of brands crammed in there, which is nice. You can find brands like Maison Crivelli, Atkinson's, you can find Nicharnet as well. And then I think this is only in 1 of 2 stores, but you can find the House of Oud as well. Now, I do have to say that the staff in here are lovely, but there is one thing that kind of stands out from this store compared to the others, and it's the staff are trying to sell to you hard. And I get it's their job and they need to make money and that's what they're told to do. But I feel like people will buy a little bit more if you just leave them alone and kind of not monitor them. Now, the gift and the curse with Harvey Nicks is the gift is that it's a quiet, more chilled kind of shopping experience. And then the curse is that there are stones throw away from Harrods, and most of the brands you can find in Harvey Nichols, you can find in there. So I definitely don't go into Harvey Nicks as much as I should, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with the store. But yeah, man, they're in 5th place. Now in the 4th spot, we have Bloom Perfumery in Covent Garden. And this is probably the most popular store that people want to come to when visiting London, because the fragrances that you can try in here, you literally can't try anywhere else. Now there's a few things I don't like about Bloom Perfumery in Covent Garden, so don't kill me. But the first thing is the layout of the store. So if you've ever been in there, it's a tiny store and they've got these 3 kind of tables or glass counters. So when you want to try any fragrances, the staff behind there have to go and get it for you, spray it on the testing strip, and then put it down on the counter with the bottle. Now this is cool if you're trying like 4 or 5 fragrances, but say you want to try 20 or 25 fragrances, then the staff member's gonna have to literally go around the shop, spray them on the test strip, put it down on the counter, and then just watch you while you're sniffing it. And I don't know, if you don't buy anything, it feels like you've wasted their time and taken the mick a little. So because of this, what I do before I go to the store, I write down a list of what fragrances I want to try around at 5, 6 or 7. I'll test them and I want to be in and out the store as quick as possible. I'm literally in there for under 10 minutes. And the second thing I don't like is because the store is so small and they've got limited kind of space inside, if you go there, you might have to wait outside for like 20, 25 to 30 minutes as well, which obviously I get there's nothing they can do about it, but it's still something I don't like. Now let's end off with the staff, because in there they have this one absolutely amazing member of staff. I forgot her name, but all I know is she's got this bright red hair and she's probably one of the most passionate fragrance enthusiasts in a store that I've ever come across. She asked me what was my top 5 or top 10 favorite fragrances, and then she literally put me onto like 3 or even more than that banging fragrances. But then there's a few other staff, when I've gone in there, they've been whispering at the back or they made me feel a little bit awkward, and I can't really explain it, but when you get that kind of vibe, it makes you not want to go back. But again, if you want to try Tosca Vats, Imaginary Authors, Strangers Parfumery, and something like Headspace, then you have to go there. Now in 3rd place is Lessier and Turs, and when I first started going here, this was kind of an unknown store that not a lot of people were going to, and obviously people have started clocking on, so it's a little bit more busy. But this store is literally 15-minute walk away from Harrods, so when you go to Harrods, you have to go there. And it is a smaller boutique, and I can't even lie, I'm actually preferring the smaller, more intimate boutiques over the big luxury stores. Now every single staff member in this store is amazing, and when I say that, I do mean 10 out of 10. Every single time I've gone in there, it's been a pleasant experience. There've been smiles on their faces when they're greeting you, and you can tell they're very knowledgeable about the fragrances and the brands, and they're very selective about who comes in as well. So the range in the store is absolutely perfect. And let me put you guys onto the fragrance houses in there that I recommend. So I normally gatekeep, but this is for my YouTube family, so I'm going to put you guys on. So first up is from Per Noir, which is a Swiss house. You need to try the fragrance Otomo. Then you need to try Memoirs of a Perfume Collector, Tales from Zanzibar. And then my go-to date night fragrance, which I don't like talking about too often, is from a house called Exedilo, and it's called Love and Crime. Now in 2nd place is Javoy Mayfair, and we might as well keep with the theme of great stuff, because that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Javoy. And they actually do this quirky thing where they put these little cards or labels on different fragrances from different brands to kind of give you a little quick insight into how it smells. So they might say vanilla ice cream, or it smells like lemon sorbet, which I think is cool. And in Javoy, they've got 2 floors, but loads of people don't know about what's on the bottom floor. So when you first come in, you'll see Electamus, they got Born to Stand Out, they got Nishane, they've got Room 1015, for example. And then when you go downstairs, you'll see the House of Oud as soon as you step down, and then loads of other brands that I don't even know the name of, and they're nowhere else. Oh yeah, and I know loads of people love Bianco Latte, and they now stock Giardini di Toscana. And when you've been in there, I bet you any money the bottom floor's been closed. But if you just ask nicely and say, look, I want to try some of the fragrances downstairs, I'm sure they'll let you. And now when people go into stores, they don't really like talking to the staff members, but this is one where I would say talk to them, because they know a lot of stuff, man. So if you go in there and you say, listen, I like Angel Shell, I like Vanilla Diorama, they will find you 4 or 5 different fragrances that smell similar to it, but with a little difference that I guarantee you will love. And when you buy a fragrance, they are not stingy. You can pick samples that you want to add in that you've tried in the store, or they'll chuck in some random samples for you. And I've got a lot of time for Javoy, man. And number 1 is, of course, Harrods. Now, anyone who's coming to London to try fragrances, I know this is going to be number 1 on your list. This is probably the biggest store to try these fragrances, and they probably get, I'm trying to think, does anyone else get more exclusives than Harrods? I don't think so. They've got it all. And do not make this mistake. So there's 3 different places where you can try fragrances in Harrods. So when you come in from the back door, you'll see a corridor of loads of different brands scattered about. This might be new fragrances that have just launched or seasonal products that they're trying to push. So make sure you try there first. And after that, you have to go to the Perfume Hall, also known as the Black Hall. And in there, they stock hundreds of different brands. You'll find Pantheon, Roma, Stefan Humbert Lucas, and Bond Number 9. Now with this Perfume Hall, I recommend you come a little bit earlier than later, because when it gets a little bit later, it's super busy in there, and you're literally going to be smelling over 200 different fragrances in the air. So if you're trying to make an informed decision on what fragrance to buy, it's not really the best place. And just to note, it is a little bit intimidating when you do go in the Black Hall if it is early, just because The ceilings are small, it's black in there, there's loads of eyes on you. So when you go in, you might feel a little bit nervous, but it's all good, man. Now, loads of people have gone to Harrods and not gone up to the 6th floor. So listen, up on the 6th floor, this is like the mecca of luxury fragrances. This is called Salon de Parfums. And up there, you've got brands like Floraicu, you got Chanel, you got Roja Parfums, you got Kilian Hennessy, you got Ex Nihilo, if I didn't already mention that, and they all have their own little boutiques up there. You can have private consultations, you can just sit down and discover some fragrances without a million other fragrances in the air or a million other people. And for me, Harrods is the GOAT when it comes to luxury perfumes in London. And that is the end of the list, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pop on the screen a list of boutiques that I recommend you check in and around London. And I know when people come into London, they've got limited time and you might wanna check out all of these stores that I've mentioned. So I'm gonna put a little list on the screen of the order that I will hit up all of these stores. If I was gonna do it all in a day, you don't have to. I don't recommend it because your nose will probably fall off, but this is the order that I'll go in. And if there were any stores that I missed off this list, make sure to let me know down in the comments, and next time I go out, I'll make sure to try them. And if you guys disagree with the order or you agree with it, let me know as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and if you made it this far and you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that button. And if you're not already following me on TikTok and Instagram, make sure to do so at TJ Talk Sense. And if you want some behind the scenes additional action, follow me over on Snapchat at TJ Talk Sense as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, love for the love, my people.